Hey, sister leaders. Dr. Karen Hills-Pruden here, and I am excited because when we have this red background, I am not alone. I got another powerhouse sister leaders in the house, and we're going to get all up in her business, learn all about the problem she solved and who she solved it for. And so, Sharon Sellers, welcome to the Sister Leaders Podcast Studio.
Hey, Dr. Karen, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm excited to learn all about you. And so before we get started, I got some questions. My team know I create questions. Um, Before we get started though, why don't you tell the community about a little bit about who you are and who your ideal client is and what your product and services are. Just what's your lane of brilliance?
Okay. All right. So I'm an educator, leader, consultant, have a private practice. In general, if there's anything general about helping people, I help people move from functioning to flourishing. It does not matter if it's in a school, if it's principals, counselors, high achieving women that are leaders. We will have systems in place or whatever it is, wherever we are in our own lane of genius or what have you. But over time, we just start functioning, kind of like checking the box or whatever. And so when we get into that mode of checking the box, then we're not flourishing. So my ideal people are those that I'm trying to help live intentionally. That has shifted to women, high achieving women, because in my work, in the counseling practice, working with leaders in schools, I have seen this like epidemic of like women are just wide open. We are carrying the loads. We're carrying the loads in our places of business, in our families or whatever. And somewhere in there, we're getting lost. So my goal, wherever you are, is to help people get from functioning to flourishing. So
Oh, I love that. That sounds like some bumper sticker action from functioning to flourishing, boy. Y'all got that sound bite. I love it. So, what inspired you to become a counselor and a coach, and what has kept you committed for 20 years, basically?
It's a God thing. This is not my first career. I was in corporate America and loved it, and just start really getting a push to do something different. Had absolutely no idea what God was pushing me to do. And then I landed here, and it has just developed over time. God will make room for your gift. I believe that. And he started sending people to me. We would end up in shared spaces or whatever. And then I was like, oh, okay, I get it. These are, the people, whether it's, like blended families, whatever it is, God just kept sending me these people. And I was like, okay, I got it. This is your area of expertise. And I always say to people that being an expert is not always about what the textbook can teach you. That yes, I have the counseling degree, I have the business degree, leadership, all of the things. But my true belief is what your lived experiences are. So that paired with the education is what I think gives me kind of that edge to really help move people and help them. The passion has been is because I have lived this life. You name it, I've seen it. Either it has hit me directly or it has hit somebody in my family where I was kind of pulled in, being the strong one or whatever. So there has not been anything that has been put before me, whether it is in practice, whether it is in consulting, that I have not seen in some portion of my life. So that keeps me going. And also just not checking the box. I don't want to say, I help heal you, because the healing happens on your own. I'm just kind of the vehicle that kind of helps you move through. So
I love that. I really love that. And you kind of touched my heart, made my heart jump because here in the sister leaders, we don't deal with theorists. We like people who are practitioners who have actually walked the walk and talked the talk or walked alongside someone who was going through.
yes.
And so you define that greatly, that she is a practitioner. Y'all heard it here. And so definitely. So let's talk about life of balance, counseling, and wellness. And so what does balance truly mean to you beyond the popular buzzword? Because I use it and I think I'm lying. If I say I got anything balanced, it's probably lying because I'm probably more juggling it. But maybe you have a better grasp of the
Okay.
word balance and the actions associated with it.
Well, I will tell you, you're not lying because balance is constant work. As your life evolves, as you take on other things, whatever it is, you have to find that balance for you. Whether, for me, it's being a wife, a mom, daughter, at times caretaker, as well. Again, with running the business. So, yeah, it sounds like juggling, but you have to know what part of you is needed in every space, because every gift that you have, every skill set, every talent is not needed in everything. And so when you try to give all of your skills to everything, that creates the burnout. So figuring out what is needed in this particular space, and then also understanding what it looks like this month, it may not be the same next month. So the balance is an ongoing thing. So if you feel like you're juggling, you could be, but just remember what it was last week. It could be different now because what you needed this week, if you're moving, flourishing, right, what the need is now is going to change because you're living intentionally. So
Okay, I love that. So I'm not doing anything wrong as I am shifting and prioritizing. That is what I'm supposed to be doing. At least that's what I got from your answer from that.
yes, that is correct.
So let's talk about people in general. And whenever I say people, I'm talking about me too, because I am no different. I'm not immune to anything that
Yeah.
anybody else can go through. But many of us appear successful on the outside while feeling overwhelmed internally. So, what are some early signs that life has become emotionally unsustainable?
Oh, yeah, this is it. So, this is where my book comes in, The Weights of Being the Strong One, that will be released here very, very soon. And we talk about those things, recognizing them a lot. In a lot of spaces right now in this moment, I actually want to just talk about the Black woman here, if you can. And that's not that we are the only high achieving women, but I got to talk about what I am. I can talk about that experience from a Black woman. Um, I feel in general, we are conditioned, right? At some point in life that we have to do more, to achieve more than our counterparts. And then that takes on a life of its own. So we're steadily, kind of taking in more things. Somewhere in there, we get stuck in our own cycle of trying to prove something to someone. And we don't have to, because the skill set is already there. It's there, but who are we trying to prove it to? Are we trying to prove it to others? Are we trying to prove it to ourselves? Are we trying to put away what the naysayers have said, that someone may have gifted us something? No, it can never be that, hey, this is our skill set that got us to this place. But we kind of somewhere along the way put ourselves in that loop of trying to prove, something to other people or whatever. And so it's recognizing that is going to be key. You have got to recognize what it is that you're doing, why you are doing it, who you are doing it for. That's the first step. Like we talk about the 12-step programs in other areas of counseling. Well, that's the same thing with high achieving women. You're never going to get to a place where you have granted yourself grace if you don't identify that, oh, okay, I may be over functioning in this area.
Oh, you stepping on some toes, including mine, boy. I should have wore some closed toe shoes today.
Look, it is for me too. Did you not hear me say this is ever like it is a loop? Like you are always adjusting, but the key is we can't adjust to everybody else. The first adjustment has to be to yourself. That's the thing, like, because we're always adjusting. If you're a mover and shaker, you are an expert in your area, you're always going to adjust, but always start with adjusting for yourself first.
I love that. So let's talk about what are the most common life transitions that even bring people into counseling and coaching?
Family dynamics. Oh my goodness. Blended families, and I grew up in a blended family. So, like I told you, now I'm not going to talk about something that I haven't done. I'm a blended family now, but blended family and dynamics within that immediate circle, with parents, children, and a lot of times the women. This is who I'm starting to see. They're trying to be everything to every single person in that family unit, to themselves, which they're last on the list, but to their husband, to the multiple children. There's a job in there somewhere. There's a family member that needs something. It could be an in law that needs something. And so they come in looking for rescue. And one of the things that I tell them is, I don't rescue you. Number one, I help you learn what this is. I help you name it, because a lot of times when we're in counseling sessions, women don't feel that they're doing anything that they shouldn't be doing. And so it's about a mindset shift. So I help you name it and then start providing these little vehicles to get you there. There's multiple pathways. The pathway that works for one person could be community. A pathway that works for another person could be a book, a workbook. A pathway for another person be like, yeah, let me get all of my sisters or the people at the church for a retreat, whatever it is. But you have to name the thing, why you are here. And they're just overwhelmed, literally trying to be great, like for everyone, every single person. And it often starts with family, but then once we start talking, they realize, oh, I have this characteristic in something else too. I have this characteristic in something else. Oh, I didn't even realize, you know what? I'm doing the same thing, Sharon, at work. And so once we get there and you can name it, you actually start to see. And that's the identification piece. Once you identify, now you're on your pathway to transformation.
I love that. I love that. And I saw myself in some of those examples that you use.
Okay.
And so again, many times when I have guests on this podcast, a lot of things that they're talking about, I'm no different and I'm not immune to some of the things that they're talking about. And so let's talk about stress, because we all talk about stress, but I want to look at it from a different standpoint of when something good happens in our life. Why can't even positive change, like we get a promotion, we just got married, maybe we had a status change of retirement, maybe relocating, or we finally get a chance to start our own business? And why does the positive things also create emotional stress for us?
Fear. Those
Mm.
same people, the same people that are in our circles that we are making ourselves available to emotionally along the way, we may have needed something, may have not gotten that promotion yet, may have not gotten, the, I don't know, the book launch or whatever it is, but just needed something like, hey, I need someone to vent to for 5 minutes. People weren't available. And so now it's conditioned. And now that you're conditioned, the fear is there, is that if I share this with the people that are closest to me or in my network, how are they going to view me? And that's a conditioning that we, once again, have put on ourselves, because we think that our being, our space is not for us, it's for everyone else. And so again, we have to shift back to the things that are for us are for us. We can celebrate us. And because we haven't quite learned how to do that, it does add stress to, hey, we're here, we've arrived, this is what we have worked for. And so there's a layer of stress that we don't have people to celebrate it with us. Then there's another layer of stress, because again, now we're back in the loop, because typically for high achieving women, we're wide open, we're always 10 steps ahead. And so once that big thing happens, oh baby, it's like 10 steps, 10 steps, 10 steps. I'm up all night, 24 hours around the clock. We are trying to do literally in 48 hours, which could take 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but that's just the wheel that we're on. We want to be better, faster. But that's a condition, that I talk about in the weight of being in the strong one. Where did that birth in? And when you guys read it, it's literally out the gate, one of the first chapters. You're going to be like, oh, I didn't even realize that this is probably where it came from.
Oh my goodness. So let's park it there for a minute
Okay.
and continue to talk about stress. And so how do you help your clients distinguish between, if there's I might have made this up, is there a such thing between normal stress and stress that is beginning to affect your relationships, your health, and decision making, or all stress the same? I would imagine it's not, but just correct me if I'm wrong because I'm not the expert. You are.
So stress is how you interpret and how you handle. That's stress. It isn't the same for everyone. What could be stressful for one person could be something totally different that people are like, yeah, I'm not even going to entertain that. So the stress is how you interpret a thing. And a lot of times the interpretation, the stress comes because our interpretation is, how do I deal with it? How do I fix it? How do I move about in that space? And when we don't have the answers, just in general, people, when we don't have the answers, that is where the stress comes from. So let's just take it to something as simple as finances. You may have been approved for a home with your lender, your broker. Everybody said, hey, yeah, you have the finances to do that. Now it's time to pay the mortgage. Everything that looked a certain way on paper may not necessarily be coming up the way you thought. And now you put yourself in a cycle. How do I get back to what they saw? I guess, when I was getting approved. So stress is really how we interpret things. And to get around that is proper planning. In counseling sessions, I always tell my clients, I don't care what you're doing, whatever it is, where you're going, who you have to talk to. It could be a casual conversation. You should always have something in your bag called like 3 to 5 prepared responses. Those prepared responses are good everywhere. That helps with stress level. An example is just something very general about yourself. It could be a person that wants to know your business. I ain't really trying to share my business with you right now. What is your prepared response for that? And then you'll learn, what, I may even use that with this coworker who is starting to harass me, those things. And so you help yourself by preparedness or whatever. And it's just your little arsenal, 3 to 5 things that you can recycle out when things come up to help you manage stress. Because again, like I said, it's how you interpret what the end result is going to be.
Oh, you done gave me some homework. I think I need to get my 3 responses because I'm gonna be
That's
ready,
right.
ready.
Shoot them out.
Because they be coming at me sometimes. I be stepping off the elevator. Here they come asking. It's like, I don't have time for this, but I'm trying to figure out a response. So I love that. So this question came from probably something in my research with you because I know absolutely nothing about it, but I'm going to read it as written. And so, because I know you're the expert, what does a client centered, strength based approach look like in practice?
Okay. It is about you. What are your strengths? Like, if your strength is speaking, our counseling work together or whatever is going to be, hey, you are a great speaker. And so we're going to work on your healing, your journey through what your gift is. And it doesn't have to be one gift. I have a writer that is a client, writes out everything. That's homework for her. So there's not a cookie cutter response in client centered based counseling because we're basing your growth, your journey on what your needs are, what your strengths are. Because the thing is, when people come to counseling, that's a big step. Number one, the fact that they said I needed to go and see someone is a really big step. So my goal is to make you feel comfortable here. I'm never going to intentionally put you in a place that makes you uncomfortable. The most uncomfortable moment you should have in counseling with me is just a mindset shift. And so we're going to do things that you are comfortable with, and that tailors your counseling experience. So I'm creating a plan based on where you are most comfortable. And, sometimes people like to, we're talking about those prepared responses, right? Sometimes people like to go prepare a response for counseling. And then if I know that, then I'm not going to allow you to do that because then that's not real work. But I know that that is kind of how I guess like present in every area of your life. And so that tells me, hey, maybe this person needs to be a little more assertive. They need confidence in being assertive there. But again, it's based on your journey is based on what your needs are, what your strengths are. That's what we plan to kind of help you move through the process.
Great. I love that. So this question I don't believe in, but I'm gonna ask it because I've heard it. So it's like, why is it important for people to stop viewing support as a weakness and begin viewing it as an investment in their well-being?
That could be cultural. That could be cultural for African Americans. How many times, like, we may have older family members that will tell you, especially the men, that will tell you, I don't care what was going on in life, crying was not an option. Definitely it wasn't public or whatever. It's a weakness. And I think because as a race, we've spent so much time, getting from where we were or what was assigned to us to where we are now, we can't show anything as a weakness. And because we feel like if there is a weakness, that others that don't look like us will view us as not competent, not the best fit or whatever. And so I think it's just condition that has gone on for quite some time. And I, like you, I don't believe in it. However, it is a real thing. Coming to counseling for anyone, male or female, of the African American race is a big deal. How do practitioners, those of us that are in the helping industry, we got to speak life into it. We have to, do things to make sure people understand that this is a positive, because again, mindset shift, the mindset, something that has been ingrained before I was even born, is that you can't have these levels of weakness. And then two, when a person needs, an outlet, don't take it, and that is compounded over time, they're going to lose themselves somewhere along the way. All of us that are on the outside will be dealing with a shell of who that person is. And that's because there's just so much that they have internalized. But we get around that by using platforms like yours and others, just to talk about the benefits, to say it's okay to create communities where people can step in. And we have gotten better, over the years, but it is still a thing. And then you take affluent people or middle class people, we have access, right, to those things. But now let's kind of venture over into maybe like rural areas or whatever, where resources are not as plentiful. So this mindset shift that we're talking about, how are they going to get it? Right? They may not be the people that say, hey, I want to research, let me see what's out there. This is what I was taught. This is what I've learned over time. I know I'm going to be a provider for my family. So I'm getting up, going to work, make sure my family is good. There is no time, for a weakness. There's no time for help. And so those of us that serve in this area, we have to be intentional about going to those spaces. And again, making it known that, hey, we are here to help. And that is something that I have done in the past with my practice, like, because I'm an educator, so I was off in the summers. I would pick a rural area, kind of do some research throughout the year, try to partner either with a community center or whatever, and just go and offer like free counseling services, to the parents that may be coming up to pick up a kid from camp or whatever, or at a health center or whatever. And of course, am I finishing the drill like in a week with those people? No, I'm not. But my goal is to plant the seed that this is a thing. We real people, baby. I'm like you, So, and we all can benefit from the help. So we have to do a better job of saying that this works. It's a positive thing. And again, like I said, that is the mindset shift.
I love that. And my background is the praying background. And so I'm a new generation because I believe in prayer and therapy,
Come on, that.
but my grandmother's generation believe in prayer. They told you to pray for everything. They never ever said therapy. They
Yeah,
never said seek the help of a professional. But I always say that I'm a new generation of, yeah, I believe in prayer, but we're going to therapy too. We're going to work it from both ends, because I believe that they can be in partnership with one another.
absolutely. In your prayer, God gonna send you who you need to go to. So
Yep,
there's the partnership.
that part.
Yep.
So, what are the biggest misconceptions people have about counseling? And so, I share that about myself just to kind of get into a segue about that question.
is that you're weak, that you're broken. And I will say some people do make it to counseling when they are broken, but there are a lot of people, and there is an uptick in that as well. So, I'm definitely happy about that notice. There's a shift going on with me. I may be a little bit more snappy. I'm not happy at work. I've noticed, my over functioning in areas of my life. And before this train runs off the track, let me talk to somebody to make sure what I'm thinking, what I'm experiencing is not just like in my mind. Like, is this a real thing or whatever? And so when people become aware of it early, reaching out is key. Again, like I said, there's an uptick with that. And tell somebody, you know, counselors are going to be known when someone else refers them for the work that they have done for you. Tell those people how your journey was. Now, how much you want to share is completely up to you. But if you have someone that is going through, or they're giving you just enough, may not be asking for counseling, share that with them. Even though this is what I do, I have people that are my friends, like for real friends, and I'm never going to counsel them because I'm biased towards them. But I will say, hey, if you want to talk to somebody, I have somebody. I got a few people that I would definitely push, some work to, because the people that are close to me need it, and that's how it happens. Each one, teach one, tell one, that type of thing.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So recently, and I'm gonna not name names. So how do I want? So recently, I have a name here just to help me with the question, but I'm gonna purposely not name names. Recently was this big to do on social media about counseling and coaching and licensures and all of that stuff. And so my question to you is, how does coaching differ from counseling, and how can someone determine which type of support may serve them best? Because I believe there's some credentials associated with one of those titles and it's not necessarily associated with the other.
That is correct. That is correct. So, I'm sorry, let me start with counseling and licensure. You're bound by a process, a policy that people that have the money for real, the agencies that have the money for real, the insurance companies that, really drive everything, you're bound by what they say is going to happen. So let me just kind of break that down a little bit. So if you have a counselor that is on an insurance panel, say like of a major corporation, and there's a client that comes into you and their insurance says, hey, we will pay for 6 sessions. That's where you're going to lose me at. And 6 sessions, what if it takes more than that? So now the insurance company has predetermined what your level of care is before you even step into the office. But for counseling and licensure or whatever, you're bound by a lot of those things. So coaching in some aspects is the same. It just doesn't have that you got to do it this way. With me, I am, if you need the help. I have had clients to come to me that could not pay. I am not turning someone around that needs care. Like, I'm not going to do that. And so that's the shift more so in coaching. Like I said at the beginning, you can have, right, what the book says, and the book stuff, the theories, all of that stuff is good. And as a counselor, you're going to use them. You may go in and out of one theory or whatever, but your ability to make a connection of who you are as an authentic counselor, not bound by a number of sessions or whatever, that is when the real transformation happens with your clients. So if you know you have 6 sessions, and we would like to know we've kind of built rapport, if you will, in one session, reality, it may not happen that way. You don't know what the person is coming to see you for. They have to learn to trust you. That happens sometimes in more than one session. So if it takes 3 for them to trust you, now you got 3 sessions left to kind of help them transform. That is not real life. And so now we have this coaching, the growth in the coaching cycle. And I think a lot of people believe that because it's coaching, it's not the work, because that's not it. There are a lot of coaches that carry all of the same gifts, talents, education, proper training, but they are operating more so in a coaching so the clients can get exactly what it is they need. You're not bound by like a big corporation to serve the client.
Thank you for breaking that down because I said, oh, this is a good opportunity to have a expert tell us what it is. So you support people through relationship challenges. And so what are some common communication breakdowns that you see in couples and families? I
No,
I
go
know
ahead.
sometimes my poor husband, oh bless his heart, I love him to death, but I'm like, dude, I didn't say that. Where you get that from?
It's no communication. Honestly, that is what it is. I think, where we are as a society, everything is instant. And it's so what our desires are, what it is we're trying to do, purchase or start up as a family or whatever, we want it right now. And conversations don't happen, like how we're going to get there. We don't talk about the finances. Maybe we omitted a conversation that we're going back to school. Sounds crazy, but it does, because going back to school shifts a family dynamic too. It could, depending on if the person is a full-time student and have to quit their job. Now it impacts the income. How are we paying for all of this? Those are conversations that need to happen, but I think they don't happen because of the society that we are in. Case in point, husband and wife, we're getting ready to do something big, whatever the big thing is, but we're talking about it on a text message. So there's a couple of things that is happening there. We have made our lives so busy. Number one, we are missing each other, and that's going to tie into an emotional piece that you may not feel now, but you're definitely going to start to feel later. But we're talking about necessary things via a text message. So it goes back to being intentional about having that time. Like I tell couples, families, and like we even do this in schools, you got to have checkpoints. If Sunday is your day, Sunday, we sit down every day at 6 o'clock. We're talking about all the things for the week, all the things for of last week. That's your business meeting, whether it's 15 minutes, whether it's an hour, you got to have checkpoints. Same things in schools. Leaders are charged with running a building. But if you never talk with the people that got the boots on the ground, other than a faculty meeting once a month, you're going to miss it. Like there are so many things that are happening. So there always have to be checkpoints. So communication we don't have it. We're not doing it. But I think it's the society. We're always trying to cram more into that same 24-hour day. Got to be intentional. This is the time that I'm going to set aside for my conversation with my colleagues, my conversation with my teachers, my conversation with my husband, my conversation with my children who are venturing out into adulthood.
I love it. I love it. So, high achieving women, I believe that's
Yes.
you. I believe that's me. Why are boundaries often difficult for us as high achieving women, caregivers, leaders, and people who are accustomed to helping everyone else? And why do we have a problem with establishing boundaries?
It's the condition. We were conditioned somewhere along the way, and I'm not even talking about as an adult, maybe at 8 years old, at 10 years old. Like we knew who we were. Let's just say, like as students, we knew if we were one of the smarter ones. We knew if the teacher always called on me, and maybe some people, like in my friend group. So somewhere we attached that being called on, being the person to speak at the church or speak at events, or hey, Sharon, can you present this? Somewhere along the way, those things, which is a gift, it's a skill that we have in our arsenal. We took it as this is who we are. Like these things have to happen for us to be accepted in spaces. It's not who we are. But along the way, because it always yield such positive things, we just feel like, hey, this is what we have to do. And so we overextend ourselves in literally every area of our life because that has become the expectation. Because people called on me or whatever so much and I delivered. Don't leave that part out. I'm never going to miss an opportunity to deliver again. And we think that becomes our job. That isn't our job. Our job is to understand what we want to take on. Because some of the stuff that people bring to us, it ain't mine, it's yours. But again, we're conditioned, and I got to help you through this. And and I will say this too, because like I said earlier, this is something that we're constantly learning. As high achieving women, you go in flows, ebb and flows, in and out of cycles. And I had to reteach that lesson to myself with someone that I'm close to. Just because they're going through it doesn't mean you have to step in and fix it. I've just done that for so long. I feel like that's my job, but it's not. And so we don't put those boundaries in place because the expectation, not only from other people, but it's an expectation that we've kind of given ourselves to over time.
All right. So I ain't gonna get to all my questions. So now I'm skipping ahead trying to
You
figure out the
should have
ones
known when you got a counselor on here, we talk for a living.
So I done put a little dot beside three more that I can ask so that just to keep myself focused. And so my next question is, how does mindfulness help people become more intentional in their responses rather than simply reacting?
Oh, yes, this is good. Now, this is a skill. Oh, gosh, this is a skill. And it's a skill for me. It is ongoing practice for me to help someone with that. You got to be in tune with how your body responds. And this is the misnomer here. Something stressful can happen, but you can just be walking by like ain't nothing going on. You are the Olivia Pope of the situation. I'm just making things happen, but your body is responding a certain way, whether it's, heart palpitations, sweats that are not hot flashes, if you will, your body is responding to that. You got to stop and figure out what that is. Like, it's happening, but why the body is responding that way, you have to take some time. And so that's where mindfulness comes in play. And then high achieving women too, in general, we're in control of everything. And so mindfulness practice, you kind of got to let go of some of the control. Like let your body do what it is going to do. And it takes time and it takes practice. We always say it takes 21 days to make a habit. It takes about 21 days to get that really, really going. However, though, once you get there, it's good. It becomes like a ritual. Your body can tell you, at night when you're doing your study, your journaling, or whatever it is, and you take a moment to do a mindfulness practice, your body will tell you what it held on to that day. It'll tell you and it'll help release. So it's not like a lot of people think mindfulness is this is my way to relax. It's really to get in touch. Sometimes it can be relaxed and sometimes it can be a trigger, but you need to know what that trigger is so your response can be different.
I love that. And I sometimes employ a pause, just we're so used to doing stuff automatic. We don't even have to react in an automatic way sometimes, but we do it instead of just take a pause for a minute. What are they really saying? What am I really
Mm-hmm.
looking at? What am I really processing? What is the totality of what it is I'm getting ready to respond to? Because that you're not considering because you're just so quick to respond and move on to the next thing Because usually
Correct.
we're so quick to respond so we can get back to doing what we were doing or we can move on to the next thing. And so, yeah, that pause has helped me. So, I have two more questions that I picked out here. And so, I'm just
Okay.
going to be disciplined, Karen, hold myself together here. And so, my second to the last question is, in your experience, how do unresolved personal issues show up in leadership, business, parenting, and relationships?
Oh gosh, trust. The lack of trusting the people that you have either hired, that have been assigned to you, or whatever it is. When you don't resolve the things yourself, your body as well as your mind automatically assumes that the people around you are not responding to you, but that's because you didn't respond to yourself. And so that becomes a trust issue. It shows up in micromanaging of certain things because you don't trust the people that you hire, that you know are very skilled in what it is that they do. But then there's a trust issue there. Like even with families, I see this with moms and children a lot, especially as they're transitioning, like, maybe from high school to college or into adulthood, whatever it is. They have to trust. Moms, you have to trust that what you and your community, their dads, their grandparents, their aunts, whomever it is, what you guys instilled into them, you have to trust that those things are going to show up. And then also we have to understand that perfection is not what we're striving for. You can't be perfect. And these people, whether they're at work, your family, or whatever, they are not perfect either. And so you can save yourself a headache by not expecting perfection. And, for the people that I work with, one of the things that I tell them, people are going to make mistakes, including you. The goal is to learn something from it. It builds character. It definitely gives you your resiliency skill set or whatever. It's okay to make a mistake. Not doing anything and overreacting to something, they're the same poison. So just don't strive for perfection and allow mistakes to happen. There is going to be something that is learned from that.
I love it. And so, okay, here's the last question. The last question.
Okay.
What is one message you want every listener to remember about protecting their peace, honoring their needs, and creating a more balanced life?
Mm. Oh gosh. You weren't meant to live in survival mode. Whether that's in your personal life, whether that is at work, you weren't meant to live in survival mode. We have to stop making that the norm.
It's as simple as that.
That's it. That's
Awesome.
it.
Y'all heard it. Y'all heard it here.
You don't have to live in survival mode. That's it.
I love it. So this has been wonderful. Of course, you're a counselor and I'm a talker, so we just gonna have to put a period at the end of this. But I want you to share with the sister leaders community how they can stay in contact with you, anything that you got going on, where they can find you, any book, products, services, programs, anything that you want to promote. I know you got a website because I went up there, so that's definitely mention that. So yeah, share all of that information so that they'll know how to connect with you.
All right, two websites. One website is gotbalance.org, and then the other one is EduCounseling Consulting, educounselingconsulting.com. Whether you need help with systems, that's EduCounseling Consulting. If you're looking for something in personal care or care of loved ones or what have you, gotbalance.org. Both of those are on Instagram. The Life of Balance Collective is on Instagram, and EduCounseling_consulting is on Instagram too. And those are just communities, but reach out to me. Reach out to me directly via email, Sharon@gotbalance.org and Sharon@educounselingconsulting.com. I respond. It's me. You're going to get a real life answer there. I'm sure that there is something If you are looking for a result, there is something in the arsenal, in the toolkits, that I can help you with. Also, like I said, be on the lookout for Amazon. These things will be posted on Instagram, and the web page for my book that will be coming out soon. And again, that is The Weight of Being the Strong One. And so, like I said earlier, it helps you identify where this even got from. And we talk about the transformation. There is a workbook companion that goes with it, as well. If you want to purchase that separately, you don't have to, but I tell you, that is definitely where the work is. So I'm just looking forward to just doing more with the collective. The practice has always been here, but just to put it out there, the services that are available, that you can reach out and touch me. Your organization can reach out and touch me. So
We love it. We love it, love it. So stay connected to Sharon. And look, this is just the beginning. So this is the beginning of seeing Sharon. You're going to see her in the community many times before October. And so I am excited. And so I won't get hit in the head by my team. Let me go ahead and mention October. And so we are back at the Rivers Casino October 2nd and 3rd in Portsmouth, Virginia. I am excited. This is year 3 at the casino. This is year 6 for the conference. And of course, this year's theme is purpose led, profit focused. And for me, because I might be nobody, but I believe when you follow your purpose, the
come on.
profits will come. Not the other
Yes,
way
it will.
around. The other way around can lead you down some dark roads. But if you follow your purpose, your profits will come. And so it's going to be Sharon and a whole lot of other people. You know how I roll. I don't roll out who's really going to be there until later. And y'all don't really decide whether or not you're coming. You'll put save the date, but then you'll be like, well, who coming? Who coming? Well, it's a business. We got a process to this. We're going to roll out people, but you're going to see them. You're going to hear them. And I am excited about all the knowledge that we're going to exchange and share. And my events are an exchange of information. I jump from a leader mode as soon as I get off the dais to a student mode as soon as the next speaker come up there, because I believe I can learn from any and everybody, and I take notes to do that. And so sisterleaderconference.com, sister leaders with an S, conference.com is the conference website. My team is overhauling it now. I just took some new pictures because it was required. And so you're going to see all fresh faces, including Sharon and some of the other individuals up there. And as we start moving towards October, and look, it's not that far away. June is gone. We just had our planning meeting yesterday. June is pretty much gone. I think we got a week left in June, and then next thing you know, they already running 4th of July commercials. So October is not that far away. So go ahead and make your arrangements, your travel, and join us in the room or virtual. About 369 of you joined us last year globally, and so I'm excited for my global community. We love that you're out there. Would like to see you in the room, but if you can't make it, make sure that you tune in live stream through the global community. And so that's enough because I can talk. I can talk now, but I'm not going to talk you to death. I'm excited. Sisterleadersconference.com. And this has been a wonderful session with another powerful leader. And today was Sharon Sellers.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.